Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Bike Walk Commission meeting for the month of March 2023. I'm the chair of the commission, Tanner Thompson. We don't usually do a roll call, but I think actually after watching some other commissions, I might do a quick roll call. So we'll start with myself, Tanner Thompson, Christine Bisceglia, Judd Sinaley,
Present.
Emily Berneman,
Here.
Sam Ebert. I don't see Sam, and Colin Grothier. I don't see Colin yet, and then we have one vacancy. So that gives us a quorum. We're going to move on to our introductions and public comment.
Here's
Do we
Colin.
have? Oh yes, please let the record show that Colin joined us at 6:04. Do we have any members of the public that would like to join in for public comment?
I don't see anyone, Tanner.
All right, thanks, Delene. I think I'll move right ahead then, because we do have tons on the agenda. Okay, our first thing on the agenda is the swag order, and Emily actually asked me that we cover this first, so I'm glad it's first, because you have to duck out shortly after this, right, Emily?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I do.
Okay, so I will turn the time over to you to present what you've got. It's about t-shirts, right?
Yes, it's about our swag order. So we have this potential new logo that we would like on our proposed order for this year's budget. Part of that, oh, I'm so sorry.
Emily, you're muted in case you don't know that.
Sorry. Okay. We have our proposed order here for t-shirts. The immediate need is the Bike Month t-shirt order that we want to put through. And so I've spoken to a few vendors. I've listed them in the top right corner, send this order via email, I guess. But ideally, proposed orders include t-shirts, stickers, hats / baseball caps, a bike walk, Norwalk, tablecloth, and bike lights. I wasn't able to get a price on bike lights, but I was able to get pricing on the other items here. So I just wanted to propose again this logo on t-shirts and stickers and a tablecloth for our upcoming events for Bike Month. Is there any other information that you need on the budget for, I'm sorry, not the budget, on this swag order or details around this?
Judd's got his hand up. Go ahead, Judd.
What's the total budget for the swag?
Do you mean how much money do we have available, or how much are we proposing to spend?
Well, what are we proposing to spend total? I see this is 1,900.
Yeah, that doesn't include the bike lights, because it looks like Emily hasn't been able to find a price on that yet.
Right.
I wanted to suggest, I think the bike lights are good. I don't know what you all think about getting some bike locks for people.
I like the idea of bike locks as well. I was trying to accommodate non-bikers. So I think I replaced like our helmet order with hats instead of helmets, knowing that we still have helmets coming from our previous stock order. Do we, well, actually, I should have asked you, Jed, before, but do we have any leftover helmets, or did we go through all the helmets at our Norwalk Night Out event?
We have not, I'd have to check with the vendor. I don't think we've received all the helmets, but we used up.
I say, Judd, no, we haven't received the second order of helmets from last fiscal year.
We got half of it, Greg, was it?
Well, no, we didn't get the helmet portion yet.
Okay, so we have 160 helmets coming still.
Yeah, we did get a small shipment in later in 2022, I believe in September, but we haven't gotten the remaining helmets in yet.
Okay, so we have plenty of helmets, Emily.
Okay, great. So that's why I replaced our proposed order. We originally had helmets there. I replaced it that, it would be nice. The other thing I did, and I wanted to quickly share too, is some mock-ups, ideas. Ooh, no,
Emily, before you move on, I just, can I point out, we ultimately, we will need 3 quotes for each
Right.
item. So are these, the unit price that you have listed, is that just a rough estimate? Or is that a price from one of the
This-
vendors?
correct. This is a rough estimate based on a price from one of the vendors. So I used the t-shirt one that you found from, not Spreadshirt. I think you had a different one, but there's also Custom Ink. Someone recommends Spreadshirt as a #1 option, and then Yeti was something else, but I think that's a little overpriced for what we're looking for. But the other option is Minutemen. They connected me with some
Okay.
other direct order.
But this
Yeah.
is just an estimate. This isn't a proposal that we're going to send to purchasing.
Correct. This is an estimate. This is in no way a final proposal.
Got it. Okay, go ahead with what you were going to display.
Looks like I can't show my desktop. It's only allowing me to show my Google Chrome. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Hold on. Let's see if I can open these. Can you see that? Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Yeah. So there's this really cool, the Stick It site, and I was putting some mock-ups on those, but we already had a water bottle. So the other thing I was looking at that I really would love for our crew are zip ups or some sort of, reflective gear that can be used by both bicyclists and pedestrians. So, I'm looking into options for that. I don't have any estimates at this time, but I am trying to get, something priced. But I think it also comes down to, the budget and how much we want to spend on this and what, would be used most across our followership. And
Thanks, Emily. You're cutting in and out just a little bit. I want to point out that last month we did authorize 4,000 to spend on swag, so I don't think we need to put this to a vote, but if people have feedback, Christine's got her hand up. Go ahead, Christine.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, at the last meeting, I did get a quote for the banner and sorry, I'm in the process of getting the quote and the banner for the tablecloth and the banner. So,
great.
they have the logo. It's Alpha Graphics in Stanford, and they did some work before for a nonprofit in Norwalk. And, I think the banner, we paid about $100 for that banner, but anyway, so they're gonna get back to me with the mock-up. And I'll share that with you, Emily, when I get it. And a quote.
perfect. Thank
Yep.
you.
Okay, any other feedback on the swag order? Christine, your hand's still up.
So we still have 2,000 to use up. Is that correct, Tanner?
Well, yes, I think we actually have a little bit more than that, actually, when you look at the balance in our account. Last month, we approved 4,000. We voted to authorize Emily and you and Colin, who were kind of the swag working group, to spend 4,000. With the idea that then we could expedite the process by not having to wait until this month's meeting. But here we are. So we need to get this ordered. So again, Judd, Colin, and Emily, can you work together to get this ordered as quickly as possible?
Yes.
Yes.
The goal is to have
Absolutely.
t-shirts for Bike Month, which is in May. So by the end of this month to have t-shirts, right?
Yes, that's one goal. And then a second goal is that we are able to, that everything else that we're ordering also comes in before the end of the fiscal year so that we can pay on delivery as opposed to paying on ordering like we did last year.
Understood. Yep. Okay.
A question for Greg. Greg, when it comes to this Bike Norwalk logo, I don't know if you were on the email chain or not, but I emailed Jim to ask for permission to use that logo because I think it came from your department. And he gave us permission to use it on t-shirts, but do you have an idea of whether Jim and everybody else would be okay with us putting it on, for example, water bottles?
That I would just have to make sure. I mean, if he gave the go ahead for t-shirts, I would assume would be fine, but let me just double check and just make sure. And I'll let you know. this week about that.
Okay. Sounds good. Any last thoughts on swag, or can we move on? Oh, let the record show that we've got Sam Ebert joining us. Welcome, Sam.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for waiting. Or sorry, I'm late.
I have to hop off. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks for coming, Emily. Okay, moving right along.
Tanner,
We have,
you got that I showed up too, right?
yeah, I think we got you like right as you showed up. You showed up at like 6:04, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Delene, can you confirm?
Yes, I have it. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so the next item is the strategic plan discussion. So I've talked with most or all of you individually about this and asked for feedback, and I've got a Google Doc that I've been working in that I'm going to present here. And thankfully we have, unfortunately I only had to leave, but Emily was here last month when we discussed this, and now all the other commissioners are here to talk about the strategic plan, which is great. So I'm going to share my screen. Emily and I are both struggling with screen sharing. What the heck? Okay, somebody else, Colin and Judd, I shared the document with you recently. Could one of you pull it up and share the screen? I'm not even running Linux, but I'm having issues having Zoom find my screen here.
Colin, is that something you can pull up?
You're muted, Colin.
Sorry, I can try. Let's see.
Colin, while you do that, I'm going to grab water. I'll be right back.
Yep. Chrome tab, cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Colin. So as we discussed last month, since I became chair almost 2 years ago, we haven't had a strategic plan. Before I was chair, Nancy, our previous chair, did a good job of getting a strategic plan together every year, and that strategic plan consisted mostly of goals and kind of like milestones within those goals to hit. What I've drafted here is a little bit different. It kind of includes that, but it also includes a little more detail at a little bit of a higher level. And the reason for that is that around the same time that I took over for Nancy as chair, we also got our new TMP administration with Jim and Garrett being hired. And they've been a lot more proactive on issues of biking and walking. And that's kind of shifted the role that the commission has been playing. And I kind of want to capture that in the strategic plan. Even if the way that we capture that only lasts for a year, and then we kind of reevaluate that. And so that's why I've outlined the responsibilities section here, which we'll get to. The top level vision we actually did vote on, although I think Colin wasn't there, so I think it wasn't actually a binding vote. But Christine and Emily and I were in attendance last month, and we all signed off on the vision statement. The idea behind the vision statement is not to, this does not represent a goal that we have for 2023. This is not necessarily something that's achievable in 2023, but it's a direction that we are all united in in looking in and a long-term vision that we all share. So what we drafted is, the vision is that Norwalk is safely and conveniently accessible entirely by biking, walking, and public transit. So I'm going to summarize the other sections that we have, and then we'll go through and discuss each section. There's a purpose, which is identical. That's copied from the ordinance that established the Bike Walk Commission. So that's the same statement of purpose that we've had for the last several years. The responsibilities are split into 6 different responsibilities. And those responsibilities kind of describe the high level categories of work that the commission does, the types of work that the commission does. And then we have some goals, and the goals are what are the least, that they need the most work. They're the least polished. But the goals, the idea behind the goals is that that's specifically for the year 2023. And whether we want to make that calendar year 2023, i.e. ending in December, starting in March, or fiscal year 2023. Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, but fiscal year 2023 is the one that starts in July of this year. Or is that fiscal year 2024? Anybody? I can't remember which is which.
I think 24 starts in July.
Okay. So anyway, my point is that I haven't decided on, and we haven't really discussed exactly what time frame we want this to apply to. But the point is that the goals apply to a narrower time frame, like just a year, and that they are measurable, and that they're like a milestone that we are trying to hit by the end of that time period, and that like the next year that we would start over and maybe pick different goals, or maybe set the same goal but bigger. You know, instead of having one event, we set a goal to have 2 events or whatever. So that's the high level structure that I've sketched out. The part that I am most excited about, like I said, is, if you go up, Colin, is the responsibilities. This, I think, just as important as outlining the responsibilities of the commission is kind of outlining what the responsibilities of the commission are not, or rather what kind of work the commission is not expected or should not be expected to do, in part so that we understand kind of where the
Sorry. We have a Zoom at 6:30. I'll log off. Are you on Zoom too?
We're on Zoom 3, Tom.
Okay, my apologies, sorry.
That's okay. Okay, I think we're good, Tanner.
Is the recording starting again?
Yes, it did.
It did. Okay.
Yep.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that. Yeah, the point of the responsibility section is for us to understand what the commission should be expected to do, and also what responsibilities we should expect other entities to do, whether that's the city in the form of TMP or some other agency, or private citizens, that like something that isn't appropriate for the commission to do because it is an official part of the city. So that's kind of the motivation behind sketching out this responsibilities section. Any questions about that high level approach?
Oh, it's great. Well done.
Thanks, Judd. Colin, can you scroll back up to the vision? We workshopped the vision quite a bit, and Christine and Emily and I liked it quite a bit. Any comments on the vision statement? Colin, it looks like you left a comment here. Are you suggesting that we lost the sharing again?
Yeah, sorry, I'm on through the browser. I can't share and speak at the same time, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
But I'll do my best.
Before you comment though, Sam, I shared the document with you as well. Are you able to pull it up and share it on screen? Thanks. Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I liked it overall, but I think it was, what did I say? I just felt like it could be tweaked a little. Like I felt like that it's safely and conveniently accessible. I felt like that was a little bit too much of a definitive statement. and that maybe we should adjust that to like Norwalk is a mix of urban and suburban communities that can be accessed by walking, biking, and public transit. So saying the same thing, but just not saying, I feel like, definitively stating in the vision that it's safely and conveniently. I mean, that's a goal, but that's, not being as concrete in the goal and saying that it's safe. Because otherwise, what are we working towards? I mean, we're working towards safety, but the vision is that, we are these different types of communities, broad brush, and they are accessible.
Okay, frankly, I don't quite understand the distinction you're making. Also, Sam, can you scroll back up to the vision? Thanks.
Colin, I get what you're saying, but Tanner, are you struggling with it because it's like our vision, right? It's not what exists now, it's our vision. Like that's what we're striving for. Does that
Yeah,
make
like
sense,
this
Colin?
is the world that we would like to see someday. The world and like personally for me, the world I'd like to see someday is that everybody in Norwalk has the convenient choice to get places, to get everywhere they want via biking, walking, or public transit, and feel safe doing so. And so what I wrote here is just like a shorter way to say that. But Colin, what exactly are you trying to get at by calling out the fact that like Norwalk's a mix?
I'm good with that. I think it's just like when I was reading it, I was just reacting to the fact that as a vision statement, that's not its current state. And I felt like that was making more of a statement rather than like a broad vision. But I'm good with it. That was just my thought.
I mean, we could change it to be more explicit and say Norwalk will be.
Or like yeah, I don't know. Norwalk will be, yeah, something like that.
Any other thoughts? I'm happy to change that to will be.
Yeah, I think I like that too. But what about the suburban urban part? Colin, you feel that should be there too in that sentence?
No, I was just trying to fill in the fact that it's, it is a diverse community consisting of different,
right.
different types of neighborhoods, and that, they are conveniently, that they're accessible by all of those. And that was our, I don't know. Maybe I
Right,
missed
like
the mark on the
some are more
comment,
accessible than other neighborhoods by these modes. Maybe, right now.
Not, I don't know. I think I probably missed the mark a little bit on that comment, but I'm fine with the direction that it's going currently with Tanner's edit.
Thanks, Colin. Sherry, I see your hands up. I love to have participation from non-commissioners. I'm a little bit worried about getting through all the agenda items without in the amount of time we have, especially because we do now have 5 commissioners, unlike last month we had 3. But I'll give it a shot, and I'll let other people participate if you're willing to be concise. But if it ends up taking too long, then I'll have to let only commissioners speak. Go ahead, Sherry. Sherry, you are muted.
Sorry. I was just thinking about the vision statement. I mean, couldn't it just be changed to Norwalk strives to be a safe and convenient, accessible entity instead of all those other words? I mean, can it just be? I mean, we're not safe and completely accessible now, but couldn't we put that? Can it be strives to become?
I think
just a thought.
Sure. All right, so you're suggesting that we take out the part about biking, walking, and public transit?
Well,
or
no,
that,
no. All that could
talk
be
more about how this is a long-term vision.
Norwalk will be a safely is good too.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sounds good. Okay. Any last thoughts about the vision statement? Alrighty, share your hand still up, just so you know. Okay, so the purpose, like I mentioned, is is copied directly from the ordinance that established the commission. I think that sits nicely kind of between the scope of the vision and the scope of the responsibilities. The responsibilities are a little more practical about here's what we do. The vision's like, here's what we want the future to look like, and the purpose is like the role that we have in the city. Any comments on the purpose? I mean, that one's actually part of the law, so if we were actually to change it, we would probably have to ask the common council to do so.
I think the purpose looks great.
Well,
Cool.
Tanner, I mean, it's like the
Go ahead, Colin.
this is just our vision statement. This isn't or our strategic plan. It's not, has nothing to do with the ordinance that founded us. So I don't think we need to ask the common council to change our strategic plan.
Okay,
since
yeah,
we're
that's a fair
editing
point.
currently.
Like, we wouldn't have to use it here.
Yeah, so I mean, I did have some sort of an edit comment on the document. I just, thought if we were going to revisit it, maybe something that was support and promote efforts that strengthen multimodal connections between Norwalk's diverse neighborhoods or neighborhood centers and from the lower density suburbs to the neighborhood centers, while also supporting initiatives that promote active transportation to schools and community assets, support these connections as both transportation and recreational options.
Yeah, I went ahead and pasted that there because the view that Sam's got up isn't showing the comments.
Okay.
So this second paragraph is what Colin wrote. So Christine, the purpose statement that we have here, I put in there because last month you said that you really liked what we already have. So do the two of you or other people want to talk about like what we want out of a purpose statement? Originally, I didn't have a purpose statement. I thought that vision, responsibilities, goals kind of helped give us what we need to give us direction. But Christine, you said you like the purpose statement, so I put it in there. So what do you think?
I still like it, if you're asking me.
Okay, can you say a little bit more? Like what do you think about Colin's statement? Do you think that we should, do you think it's worth including some of what Colin's written?
Okay, so, all right, so that's a different question. So over here to the right, Colin's comments, 922 and 926, is that the purpose? That
He,
he's,
he posted it, or he pasted it in below the.
oh, I'm sorry,
highlighted
thank
on
you.
the screen.
Okay,
Yeah, so this is what Colin's written.
okay, let me read it. Let me see, support and promote. I mean, the word support is written 3 times in each sentence. I don't know if it's a little awkward, choppy, the wording, but that's just me.
I'm not a wordsmith, so that's fine with me if somebody has a thesaurus.
No, it's not the thesaurus. It's like combining this whole thing into
Yeah.
maybe 1 or 2 sentences.
Yeah, so.
But
just-
I still like the first part about increasing the livability and economic vitality, improve public and environmental health. Like that's not in the one below, and it's not at all. And that the one above kind of answers everything because connecting and supporting. I mean, the one above that answers that, but.
And
I think-
also,
Go ahead, Julia.
coming from a public health perspective, I think that's kind of essential not to be biased, but it definitely needs to be in the purpose because it's, a major part of people biking and walking and environmental health, it's saving the environment and also, public health for everyone. So I think that definitely should be in the purpose somewhere, whether it's from the first one or added onto the statement that Colin provided.
It's fine
So-
with me.
I think we should, I want to back up just a little bit and talk about why we have a purpose statement and why we have these different sections. Because I'm a little bit confused as to why we have the purpose statement. I guess my best guess is that we have it so that other people in the city understand why we exist. Like, what's the rationale for us existing? What's the point? Why should we exist? And I think both of these actually do answer that. Judd's got his hand up. Go ahead.
I think we all here know what multimodal means, but I mean, this will be a public document on the website. Is the idea, I mean, this is mostly a guiding light for us. Is that correct?
Yeah, so when I started the process, that was my goal, is that this would mostly be for, I mean, the process of going through it is just as important as the document that we end up with, right? The
Right.
discussion we're having now is half of the value here. And so yes, ultimately, I think it has the most value to us, but the purpose, I think, does have value to other people in the city as well. Like I was saying, the purpose is kind of the justification for our existence. And so if other people are like, why do we have a bike walk commission? Then we can point to our purpose and say, this is why we have the bike walk commission.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, Tanner, one of the things that I was, not that I objected to anything specific in the existing purpose, but I was trying to be a little bit more inclusive in some of the things that we've discussed more recently in our meetings, and also picking up on being a little bit more focused, to your point, in like the responsibilities and what we've actually, probably got on our table. And one of the things that the reasons why I put multimodal in there is because we have had some discussions recently about like the transit district and bus shelters and, getting people to transit hubs. That's not necessarily biking or walking, and it's a little bit more inclusive of, other modes of transit. And things are constantly evolving with like the scooters and things like that, and e-bikes and whatever else the next trend is. So, rather than being, we are the Bike Walk Commission, but it's like, rather than just adding a bunch of additional letters to our name, we're focused on biking and walking and multimodal, or just generically multimodal advocacy.
Yeah,
I
I think that's
agree.
a great point. Go ahead,
That was
Christine.
my thought process.
I agree with Judd, like multimodal, I don't think belongs here. It's not lay person's language. I like it because it's progressive language and it's kind of, but I think it has to be more clear. I also something is striking me off in this Norwalk diverse neighborhood centers from the lower density suburbs. It's kind of saying that there's no diversity in the suburbs, and it's kind of doing the opposite of what your intention is, I think, Colin, but that's just me on a gut level. I'm just responding on a gut level. So I may be overthinking that, but to me, it's kind of, I don't know, segregates. It sounds segregated to me.
Well, I mean, the fact remains that it is segregated, right?
Well,
We do have low density
Yeah,
suburban
but-
areas.
no, but I mean that there's not like minorities living in low density suburbs. That's not true.
I don't
I mean,
think it says that at all. I'm not sure where you're
It doesn't
reading
say
that.
that.
It says diverse
Good.
neighborhoods and
Yeah,
and-
neighborhoods are diverse in that there are urban neighborhoods and suburban neighborhoods and mixed neighborhoods. That has zero to do with ethnicity. That has to do with density.
I just
You
think
have,
I understand, Colin, and I know you well enough to know, but again, so if I had time to like look at this and work on this, but right now on the fly, like this is a kind of a tall order here. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So one thing I thought that we might end up needing to do, and I think that we will need to do this, is to have kind of like a special meeting, like one way, like a focus session, and the way that would probably take place is with a special meeting, so that we can get all the commissioners there. Because if we have a quorum, then it has to be an official meeting and a special notice meeting. but I think
Yeah,
we've done
the
that
way we-
before.
Yeah, I was just
Go
going to
ahead,
say,
Colin.
Tanner, the way we handled this before was exactly that way, where we all met in person, and we were in a room with the guy that was helping us craft the strategic plan, and we hammered it out over a couple sessions. So I would say at the very least, we need at least one.
With sandwiches, Con, with sandwiches and potato chips.
Yeah, with sandwiches are fine.
Yeah, I would love to facilitate that. Who was the guy? Was it like a consultant that we hired?
Judd, do you remember who he was? I probably have it in my notes from like a long time ago.
Nobody-
He was
Probably ask Nancy.
Fairfield University, I think.
Yeah, I could ask Nancy.
Yep.
Yeah,
We can ask
I think it
Nancy.
he was affiliated
I
with
think you're
Fairfield
right.
U.
Maybe it was Fairfield U.
Okay, we have exhausted at least as much time as we allotted for this on the agenda, and we didn't get to the responsibilities, which is the part that I think is going to help us the most to direct our work. So I think that we should move the rest of this discussion to such a meeting. I don't know if Jolene, remind me of the rules. Am I allowed to move anything, or am I only allowed to entertain motions?
You just can entertain motions as the chair.
Okay, well then I would entertain a motion to have a special meeting sometime in the month of March to focus exclusively on the strategic plan. Judd,
I'd
So
like
moved.
to make a motion to have a special meeting for the strategic plan, scheduled sometime in the next 4 weeks.
I seconded.
Okay. Thanks, Christine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sam, do you think that
I
you'll have the
don't
bandwidth to
really
attend?
know. Yeah, I won't be able to attend, so I don't even know if I should vote, but aye.
Since we're on that topic, can you give us an idea of your timeline?
I
as
don't
it
really know.
regards to the-
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but I assume April will be an extremely busy month for me. I'm not sure if everybody is fully aware yet, but I am moving to Germany. So I will be leaving my position in the commission, which will open it up to one of the wonderful people that have been already helping quite a bit. And thank you all very much for the nice note given to me on Friday. So I will certainly miss what we've accomplished here and just sitting with you all. But I will let you know that I'm going to go work on mobility, which is the other half of the story, what we're trying to achieve here. The 2 ways to provoke alternative transportation are with infrastructure, like we do in this meeting, and then with product, which is what I do for work. So hopefully our efforts are still collaborative going forward.
Well, thanks,
That's
Sam.
Yep.
It's been a pleasure working with you and having you on the commission. Do you know,
Yeah.
are you going to send in an official like resignation?
I guess I should do that, huh?
I think that would probably help, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
We've had a vacancy on the commission for a while, and I've sent several names in actually to the mayor's office to try and fill that vacancy. But I think if we officially had a second vacancy, that might that might help to get that ball rolling and get some
Yep.
new commissioners appointed.
Yep, absolutely. Can do. And I obviously will be still reachable and in touch and maybe even pop by when I'm in town. If the stars align.
Or pop into us.
Yeah, exactly. It's only almost 1 a.m. in Germany right now.
Well, thanks again, Sam, for all of your contributions.
Yeah,
over the
sorry
last
I've been
2
so
years that
busy
you've been on
for the
commission.
past 6 months, but it's been awesome.
Life happens.
Sure does.
Okay, so just to wrap up that agenda item, I believe that I sent out that document to everybody, but Christine, I will send it to you so that you can read it offline. And that way we can all be prepared for the meeting. Greg / Delene, do we need to nail the date for that meeting down in this meeting, or can we decide it offline and then notice it?
You could do it offline and then notice it. You just need the 24 hours.
Great, okay.
And you guys want to do it in person, you said?
If possible. I mean, we've been wanting to have our official or like our regular meetings in person for a long time, and I've just kind of stopped asking because every time I asked, the answer was no.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out because we'll need a room and, you know, I don't know. I would assume you guys would want to do it at nighttime as well.
Well, a
After,
lot of us do have day jobs.
No, I understand that, but I don't know who's gonna be at City Hall to let you know, for a special meeting, they may not be able to have, you know, for like a common council meeting, they will keep the doors open, but for a special meeting, they may not have anybody there, you know, to set up the room, to
All
get
right,
everything
so
set up.
we don't have to waste more time on this, it doesn't matter to me, Tanner, so whatever you decide, if it's a lot of work, I'm fine with the Zoom.
Tanner,
Okay,
Thanks, Greg.
let's look into the conference room at the Yankee Doodle Garage. Maybe Laz would be able to open and close it for us.
yeah, I think there's no shortage of meeting spaces that aren't City Hall. I just don't know if we're allowed to meet there. But Greg, can I work with you offline on this?
Yeah, we can figure it out. We'll talk offline.
Great. Okay, so that brings us to Greg's bit, the 2022 TMP annual report overview, unless there's somebody else from TMP there, but I assume it's you.
Nope, it's me.
Great.
I will share my screen. Okay, everybody see that?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, so after 2022, TMP, we put out an annual report we put together for our accomplishments, our ongoing projects and objectives, as well as what's kind of planned beyond 2022. So we put together a nice document. You know, we got a pretty good looking crew over here. That was actually during our STEP seminar, Tanner, during for FHWA that we took.
Dang,
that.
if I hadn't had to run early, I could have been in the photo.
Yes, you could have. So the TMP annual report is broken up to 4 different responsibilities that TMP oversees, including traffic engineering, transportation planning, parking management operations, as well as traffic operations and traffic control. Obviously, we're, you know, a data informed department which approaches issues, you know, for traffic signals, signs, roadways and pavement marking, sidewalks, parking, all the good stuff. So we just wanted to kind of share some quick highlights of the annual report. And then after tonight, I will send this to everybody. It's just an electronic copy. We can, you know, we'll definitely share it with all of you so you can have it and, you know, you can take a read through it. But it's kind of broken up into different areas. You know, kind of has our mission statement, which kind of outlines what our department is and what we do. And this is just our staff right now. And then as you can see, we have 3 open positions right now, which are kind of vital. So we're a little short staffed right now. But we are we're still trudging forward with all our duties. And we just wanted to kind of show everybody the work that we did and, you know, moving forward, what we plan on doing. So in the area of traffic engineering, you know, we continue to address community concerns with traffic and safety and efficiency, reviews proposed project development projects to mitigate current anticipated traffic issues with higher traffic volumes, manage major traffic improvement projects, and also, you know, pursue grant funding from state and federal agencies. You know, as you can see, all the different grants that we're kind of, you know, that we're juggling right now with ARPA funds, LOTSIP, community connectivity. So a lot of these all fall into those buckets of, you know, whether it's traffic signal modernization, the East Wall Street corridor, which is LOTSIP program, and of course our community connectivity grant flight facility project that's ongoing right now, you know, including the you know, other grants as well. You know, we have the MLK grant corridor grant program that we're, you know, taking a part of right now. So we're consistently continuing to manage those existing grant projects that were kind of outstanding over the last few years. So we're looking to advance those. And, you know, we also are continued community coordination with DPW and their pavement management program. You know, obviously we worked on the improvements for Soundview Avenue, Philo Street and West Rocks this year. There's another project you know, just to pull a few out. You know, our coordination with CTDOT, our signal plan improvements, So this year with signal improvements, we upgraded 6 traffic signals throughout Norwalk to its current grid smart technology. And next year we plan on upgrading additional 4 signals as well, which were done in-house. So this is just an image of the Soundview Avenue improvements that were done. And then obviously this was the construction during Highland Avenue, which was safe routes to school as well. So our coordination with DPW, this is a look into our DPW coordination meeting. Going through this, this is kind of our bi-weekly meeting that we hold with DPW, and we go through a lot of outstanding items that we're planning on, especially for right now, planning for the upcoming paving season. So we're working very closely with them, and between their sidewalk and their paving contract, and then our concrete services contract, a lot of our stuff is tying into that, and we're trying to implement a lot of complete street practices into their program, their paving program and sidewalk program as well, to kind of upgrade those facilities. So we're kind of splitting up, and getting the job out there and trying to get it accomplished through various contracts. Click and request, TMP received nearly 300 service requests from the community in many areas. 50 of those requests, service requests required further traffic investigation. Most of these were speed radar signs, no parking signage, and numerous parking and striping installations that needed to be installed. So we worked very diligently on that with those customer service requests. You never know when those are going to be coming in. That's some of our on the field crew, if you will, out there putting up the signage and taking care of all that stuff for us, which is vital. And there's only 3 of them, so they have a big job to do. Especially at any moment, the signal can go out and they have to go out and take care of it, or somebody may go out, and whether they accidentally or they incidentally hit a traffic pole, so they have to go out and fix it, which has happened this year as well, numerous times. So we got a good field crew that takes care of that. The next section is transportation planning. We continued our short-term and long-term planning and data collection initiatives, drafting, obviously our drafting and completion of the transportation master plan, which was very big for our city, especially moving forward over the next 10 to 15 years. We submitted our RFP and RFQ for Complete Streets and awarded it to FHI Studios. And we have already begun that process of beginning our guidebook creation. And obviously, we obviously want you all to be a major part of that once we kind of start hosting the public information process and hear comments on that. We talked about this before as well. We completed the sidewalk inventory, help coordinate the sidewalk planning and maintenance with DPW and TMP as well. So it's going to kind of help on both ends, whether it's rehabbing sidewalks or installing new sidewalks as well. Over the calendar year 2022, we also applied for over $50 million worth of requested funds. Now, obviously, we're not going to get every single one, but we have lofty goals, obviously. So we were very aggressive in going after as many grants as possible. And you can see how many, of the grants that we went for, that were, some we're still waiting to hear back on. So we're hopeful that we will get awarded for some of these projects. And, that's why it's important to have a lot of these planning documents in place so that we have the community support backed. Obviously, you submitted some letters of support for these grants. So there's a lot that goes into creating these grants. And because it is a very competitive process, especially with all the money that was coming out of the federal government this year. So we were very aggressive at going after that this year. Yep.
Go
ahead, Tim.
Well, first of all, do you want to hold questions to the end?
Yeah, I'll hold questions to the end.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then parking operations is our next one. Well, we'll go over site plan reviews real quick. So site plan review, obviously through our planning board and zoning board, we went through a process, secured over 1.3 million in additional funding through numerous transportation improvements throughout the city. So these are just some of the highlighted ones that we were able to gather for new developments and, increase volumes and pedestrian volumes as well. So we built that into the developer and creating public-private partnerships to get more done just outside of the development, which is very, very important. Obviously not as, important to this commission, but, parking operations, which was also very, very major part of TMP, we oversee 4 parking structures, 8 surface lots and 2,000 on-street parking spaces. We're planning on Sono Station garage updates and Yankee Doodle garage updates. And, the Park Norwalk, really moving forward on the bike parking initiative, which is important for this commission as well, and being a major part of that. And, from our press release that we did a few weeks ago that Tanner was there at, the Park Norwalk isn't just about vehicle parking, but also for bike parking as well. So that's just another added benefit to that as well. And then just in the, there's some of our bike racks that were installed this year. And then some of our new stations, and obviously some of the holiday extravaganzas that we hosted. And again, this was some of our traffic signal maintenance, and this is our traffic operations portion, that we our department oversaw, and including signage and street lights, pavement management, and installation of striping. And these are just some of the high level items that were installed this year. RFP crosswalks at 4 locations, routine maintenance on all the speed radar signs and 11 RFP sites, the Grid Smart video detection system. So that's just some of it. And then this is our pavement marking management, which the operations kind of oversees and plays a major part in, especially coordinating with our vendor, Safety Markings, that comes in and actually installs it, and who are, there on the ground with them when they come here to install. And that includes all the signage that goes along with it as well. There were a lot of signs that were put up, and, putting up a sign, CBYD calls, and, vetting the area before installing them. And obviously just the maintenance of the city streetlights. And one other thing is just on the back end is just some of the crash data that we go through. Obviously, we're a very data-driven department, and these are just some of the highlights from the crashes from over from 2015 on, from the state DOT repository, and also working very closely with our Norwalk Police Department as well, and the crash data that they have as well, and keeping track of that as well. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's some of our ads, or some of our press appearances. So that's pretty much it, and I'm happy to share with everybody. Tomorrow I can send out to everybody, and this way you can take a look through it in your own time, and see what we did this year and what we plan on doing forward. Any questions?
Looks good.
Colin?
Yeah, is that available on the website or?
No, it's not, but I'm going to send it out to everybody so that everybody can have it. And then I don't know if we plan on putting it up on the website. That's a good question. But I'll make sure all of you have it.
Okay, thank you.
So, Paul?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Hello?
you.
Oh,
Yeah, I can hear you,
sorry,
Paul.
I didn't know if I was being muted still. Hey, good work. I'm really looking forward to reading it. I really like stuff like this. And I know it's really hard to put together and pull off every single year. I've done it myself, so good work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. Kyle Benjamin,
Yeah.
our traffic analyst, did a lot of work on putting it all together. And, we obviously submitted our, our own portions, but, kind of condensing it into, 27 pages was a little difficult. But
Yeah.
it means we're doing a lot of good work, I guess. So
That is true. Like I said, good work. And I understand
Thank you.
it's a lot of work.
yes, it is. Anybody else?
I've got a question, Greg.
Yep.
First of all, is my audio coming through? My computer is struggling for some reason.
Your movement's a little slow, but your voice is coming through.
Okay.
Was coming through.
I'll ask my question, then I'm going
There
to
you go.
actually switch to my phone and try and reboot my computer. My question was about the grants.
Yep.
You put up that list of grants that total $50 million in applied for grants. I'm just out of curiosity, how many grants were, or what was the total value, or how many grants were awarded during the year 2022 to TMP?
That I don't have off the top of my head that figure. There's still, like I said, there's still some that are still pending as well. That we haven't, received an answer.
Oh yeah, I imagine a lot of them are pending.
Yes.
Yeah, but like just to get a broad idea of like, what is a 50 million in applications? What do you expect that to translate into? Obviously, you'd like to get a lot of them. You don't expect to get every single one. Is it like
Right.
a 50-50 split? Is it like
Yeah,
a 10% yield?
I couldn't tell you that. It all depends on, like I said, it's a very competitive market right now to apply for these grants just because of all the money coming out of DC right now. So everyone's trying to get their piece of the pie. So,
Mhm.
that's why we spend a lot of
Yeah.
time doing these grant submittals and put as much information as possible and have a lot of these projects not only vetted in, existing planning documents, but also community backed projects as well, to have that extra piece so that they know that the community has the support of these projects before even awarding them.
Yeah, certainly agree about the importance of applying.
And also
those are
some
all my
grants are worth more than others as well.
Of course, yeah, we saw the different amounts listed there
So
on
the
that
different
page.
amounts, so, but yeah, there's a lot that goes into them. Anybody
Those are all
else?
the questions for me. Any questions? Well, thanks again, Greg. I look forward to reading this when it does go out.
Yep.
And thanks again for doing so much work that it was hard to compile it all.
Yeah, all good.
Okay, then we'll move to the next item on the agenda, assuming that my voice continues to come through. If I drop for some reason, Judd has not yet been officially demoted from vice chair, so I think that means that you get to lead the meeting if I drop. But also Emily's not here, so I think I would just get to pick somebody, and I think it's Judd today. Okay, so the next one is the chair's updates. If my connection starts to slow down, somebody just flag me, because I don't want to put you all through listening to a bunch of like stuttering audio. But without further ado, chair's updates. So I was contacted this month about 3 different letters of support. One was for the NRVT. They applied to the federal RAISE grant to do design work for the remaining sections of the NRVT. I think it was encompassing all remaining sections of the NRVT, so Norwalk and other towns as well. The redevelopment agency and the Fairfield County Greenway Partnership, which I'll explain, both applied to the Connecticut Recreational Trails Grant. Redevelopment agency applied for, now I'm blanking on it. Greg, do you remember? I have it somewhere, but I can't remember off the top of my head what they applied for.
Sure. That's for the RAISE grant, Tanner, for the NRVT?
No, the redevelopment agency grant. Do you remember what they applied for? I can't remember off the top of my head.
That I don't recall. Yeah, I don't remember either.
That was for the Harbor Loop Trail.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that's right. It was for 130 East Ave. There's a little missing section of the Harbor Loop Trail. Thanks, Ben. And then the third one was the Fairfield County Greenway Partnership. That was previously the Fairfield County Bike Partnership. That's all the different towns between Greenwich and Bridgeport. Greg and I have been attending their meetings approximately monthly, and they're applying for a grant for design work of the route between Greenwich and Stamford. And I went ahead and wrote that letter, even though it doesn't include Norwalk per se, because we're part of that larger regional effort, and we look forward to when that will reach Norwalk and connect to it. So I went ahead and wrote all 3 of those letters because they're very much in line with what we do. Next is the street project screening. On Friday, we screened the documentary called The Street Project, and we had a pretty good attendance. We had 36 people attend. It was at the South Norwalk Branch Library. The movie seemed to be well received by everybody who came. There were a lot of new people I didn't recognize, which was great. We had a really robust discussion. We had a panel discussion that I moderated, and we had Judd and Sam and Emily, and then also Mike Mushak, a former member of the commission, on the panel answering questions from the audience. So I'd say that was very successful, and thanks everyone, especially Emily, who did a lot of work in coordinating that. The next one is the WestCog Metropolitan Transportation Plan. As most of you know, WestCog is the Western Connecticut Council of Governments. So that includes everything from approximately Westport to Greenwich, and from the coast all the way up to Sherman, which is like way north of Danbury. Every 4 years, they update their Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and they currently have the draft that was released a few weeks ago. The comment period ends in 3 days on the 9th, which I guess is Thursday. I've read bits and pieces of it. Ben has been filling me in on most of it because he's been reading the entire thing. If you would like to read any part of it and submit comment, you have 3 days to do it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Ben, I do want to give you quickly the opportunity. Is there anything in the plan that you think that the commission ought to potentially comment on?
It's a good question. For like a specific point, I might have to go back and look at the notes I was taking. But overall, the plan is actually pretty good. They say a lot about, adding more active transportation to the region, and decreasing vehicle miles traveled, and they have some other indicators that they want to see going in a different direction moving forward. So overall, I have a pretty positive impression. And then there were just a few things that they said in terms of like projects that they were thinking about that seems like a little bit contradictory to those like stated goals. So there's some good stuff. There's some things that I didn't quite agree with as much. But I'd be happy to share those notes with people, because I was, I wrote some stuff on basically every page, so that, you can just look through and get a idea of what's going on without having to actually pick through it yourself, because it's very dense and the plan's like 180 pages. It's kind of a lot.
Yeah, I think it would be great. No reason not to share that with everybody. Go ahead,
Sure.
Paul, your hand's up as well.
Yeah, I read through the plan too. One thing that's definitely going to affect our area, besides the interchange that we already have on the agenda, so I won't talk about that. But the potential of having a dedicated bus only lane on Con Ave, which is slated to run through our area.
Oh, I missed that.
So that's something we would definitely want to. I submitted a comment talking about it, not obviously as Norwalk Bike Commission, but as a citizen. And I mentioned that they should really look about combining that and turning that also into a bus bike lane. I mean, the public transit bus schedule is not very intensive, so not like you're gonna have a bunch of buses like bearing down on you at all times, obviously. And I've ridden in the ones that are in Boston a lot, and it was wonderful because you have this huge lane, and bus drivers are pretty respectful usually. So that's something we should definitely eyeball. I echo the earlier sentiments. It's there's a lot of good stuff in there, but I don't think it touched enough on some things. Like for example, like the sidewalk network didn't really get talked all that much. It mentions it through the active transportation, but they didn't hit that hard as I would have liked. And then also, I mentioned that they should, when they're doing studies along tight corridors, that maybe they should look at combining the sidewalk to be like we have on Riverside Drive now, a multi-use path, so it can be a sidewalk and a bike lane all at the same time. It's quite nice. Anyways, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for calling those things out, Paul, especially the bus bike lane. I think that given your hand's still up, Paul, just so you know. I think given the short timeline before the comment period ends, I'm not sure that it's worth our time to try and get a letter together as the commission, especially since there's nothing that's come up, with the potential exception of the exit 16 intersection that we're going to talk about later. I don't think there's anything else that would be urgent for us to comment on. So I would encourage anybody who's interested to comment individually. And next time this comes around, perhaps we'll be a little more organized and we can comment on it as a commission. Any objections to that? Cool. Moving right along, the state is in the middle of the legislative session. There are two bills that I wanted to call out. There's SB 630, which is about the Norwalk Transit District. This bill, if passed, would dissolve the Norwalk Transit District and hand all of its service and its assets and its liabilities over to the state and have CT Transit take over bus service in Norwalk. I actually testified on this bill. I didn't testify for or against the bill, but I did say that as currently, that without more information about the potential handover to Conda, that it didn't seem like basically the public deserves to know more about what this would look like in practice before the bill is passed, in my opinion. So I testified on that. And then the other one is SB 1079 about the Community Connectivity Grant Program. I'm mostly surfacing this here in case you guys at TMP haven't seen it. Not that you're not on top of everything, but I know that you're short-staffed. So there's a bill in the legislature. Have you seen it, Greg?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cool. For everyone else's context, this would allow municipalities to apply for 2 projects at a time under this grant program. Right now, it's capped at 1. We've been using this grant to do the east-west and north-south bike lane projects. And as a result, we haven't been able to apply for any other projects under that grant program until the first one is either approved or complete. I don't remember exactly what the criteria
So
are,
as
but-
long as it was, so Tanner, when the money was awarded to us and we received the money, that means that it was open to us to apply. So we received the
Gotcha.
money late in the summer last year, so we are available to apply for this one.
Cool. But if this bill is passed, then you'd be available to apply for 2, as long as one of them meets certain criteria about, I think, being located near transit.
Correct, yeah, that they have very specific criteria to meet to apply for each one, right?
Yeah. Colin, go ahead.
Thanks, Tanner. Can you repeat the bill number? SB 1079, was that right?
1079 is the one about the community connectivity grant.
Cool, thanks.
Also, for those of you interested in public transit, I won't go into details here, but there is a bill that has a lot of good stuff for transit. It's, I think it's entitled an act implementing the recommendations of the Connecticut Commuter Rail Council. So look that up if you're interested. Moving right along, the Bike Friendly Communities application. I think I mentioned this last month. I just want to give an update, and there's a couple commissioners that weren't here, but we're targeting the application deadline this fall. I think it's in September. I've been meeting with mostly Ben to slowly work through it, but we're taking a slower and a higher level approach where we use each question on the application as an opportunity to kind of examine what that would look like in Norwalk potentially, and like what the process is for obtaining such a thing. So for example, there is a question about bike parking facilities, and so we would go through and examine like what would it take for Norwalk to get to the point where we can answer yes to this question, and like what actions should we take in the short and medium term. So that kind of, as we go through that, I hope that informs kind of our strategic plan, and or maybe informs our goals and other advocacy work as we go along. So if people want to participate in those meetings, everyone is welcome to. We've kind of been irregularly holding them on Tuesdays. So if you're interested in joining one of those, contact me. Colin, go ahead.
Sorry, I got to lower my hand.
Yeah.
Tanner, are those
Christine, go
meetings,
ahead.
those are meetings in the daytime, is that right? I think you told me that before. When you and
No,
Ben meet?
I'm at work during the daytime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'll look for the next
those are in the
one.
evening.
Thanks.
You said you want to join the next one?
If possible, yes, I would.
Okay, I'll text you. The next one is the Earth Day event. Audrey, who is here, approached me about participating in the Earth Day event, just like we did last year. And so we're planning on doing that. We're planning on having a table at the event and giving out swag and talking to the public as we did last year. I offered to lead or find a leader for a bike ride. Given my broken arm, I don't know if I'll be in a state to ride a bike at that point or not, but if I'm not, I agreed to furnish a ride leader. Last year, we led a ride from South Norwalk up to the Green. Audrey, go ahead.
Yeah, we could have more than one ride.
That would be great.
You know, the main theme for this year's Earth Day is going to be walking and biking, or getting to the green without a machine. Walking, biking, public transit is going to be the main theme. So we'd love to have more than one walk and more than one bike ride. So as many conduits to the green as possible, it would be fabulous.
Thanks, Audrey. And I love that theme and that focus. So everybody put that on your calendars if you can attend on April 22nd. That's a Saturday. And I think the event will start at noon, right? But the bike rides will happen previous to that.
Well, the hours are 11 to 2, and there's a program at noon on the gazebo where everyone kind of focuses. But getting to the green, I know Norwalk River Valley Trail, Nancy Rosette's going to lead a walk from City Hall again to Mill Hill. And the Historical Society is going to have a tour of their historical herb garden, and then over to the green. So there's opportunities to bring people from all. Tracy School is going to participate. That's our closest public school to the green. And it would be great to have a walk or a ride from the Tracy School up to the green. So there's many opportunities. So we've got the same template as last year, but we just want to expand on it.
Thanks, Audrey. So last year we did the ride from Sono. I think that's worth doing again. And then I think maybe a ride from East Norwalk would be cool. Is there anybody in East Norwalk that would be willing to lead a ride from East Norwalk? I guess you don't have to live in East Norwalk, but Christine and Ben.
That'd be fun, Coley.
Awesome, yeah.
And anyone's
Great, and then-
welcome. We've got a meeting, another planning meeting Monday, next Monday, week from today on the 13th at noon at St. Paul's. So I think Emily might be attending. Tanner was at the last one. I think Emily might come to this one. Ben, you're always invited. Christine, anybody?
Thanks, Audrey.
Audrey, I'll talk to the parking authority about free parking again.
That would be wonderful. We had last year with the transit authority, the transit district gave us free bus posters, which helped too. So yeah, Judd, I was going to reach out to you. So thanks. That would be wonderful.
Can you all hear me? My computer did finally give out and I have no idea why, but I'm back in on my phone. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we can see your injured arm now.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, so one of the casualties here is that I no longer have the agenda up. Let's see if I can get my computer to come back. Does somebody have the agenda in front of them? What's the next chair's update item?
NRVT grand opening?
Yes, okay, so Emily and I have been working with Nancy Rosette from the NRVT on the NRVT grand opening. Due to a little bit of overcommitment on multiple people's parts, including my own, we've scaled the event back a little bit. The original scope of the to include all the way to the. We've now moved the end point and thus the party, as it were, from the aquarium to Union Park, and the event will focus more directly on the missing link itself. So it'll start with a ceremony at the new trailhead next to Casatelli Tile on Riverside Ave, and then we'll have a group walk from there down to Union Park. We're hoping that this makes the event a little more focused, and also that more people, that we won't lose as many people on the walk because it won't be as long. That's really the only change. I guess we did learn that I guess Jim Travers contacted Nancy and let her know that the boardwalk section, the section by the intersection of New Canaan Ave and Riverside Ave, may not be done in time for the event. So we are also going to drop the section of the walk that was going to start way up at Broad Street, but we didn't anticipate having a lot of participation in that anyway. So this is really focusing on the core, and that'll make it a little bit easier to plan and hopefully get more people to participate in the entire activity. So that's more of an update. No requests from anybody there. Nancy's leading that charge, but if there are any questions, I can answer them. All right. Judd, can you fill me on the next agenda item?
Yep. Calf Pasture Beach open street event.
Yes. So this is a project that I've been working on with TMP and with Parks. Over the weekend, this weekend, I worked on, and actually been helping with this a little bit, actually quite a bit, putting together some detailed traffic flow plans for the event. This is a proposed event on May 13th that would involve taking 2 of the lanes on Calf Pasture Beach Road and converting them into a temporary greenway for people walking and biking and rolling and jogging and etc. But closing those 2 lanes to car traffic. So again, I want to stress that this is a proposed event. This has not been approved by all the necessary stakeholders yet, but that's what we're working on. I also have reached out to Brian Boland. Brian, you're still on the call with us, right?
Yep, I'm here.
So Brian's indicated his willingness to help out, which I think is particularly useful because Brian is an East Norwalk resident, and one of the big components of getting approval here will be talking with the affected residents that live close to the event area. So the event, we don't anticipate, we're trying to keep this keep the scope as focused as possible in order to actually improve the chances of it actually happening. So we're not planning on any programming or anything. If other people want to lead programming, whether that's like a bike safety course or some other sort of event during the event, you're welcome to. But of course, that would be predicated on first getting the approval for the event itself. So any questions about that?
Yeah, Tanner, 2 things. One, I can share the screen with the agenda if you want moving forward, the next agenda item, or Judd can read. But March 8th, you have a meeting with the police? What time is that meeting?
I do not have a meeting with the police. I emailed Darlene Young, who's the chair of the Parks and Rec Committee, about getting on a discussion item on that agenda. But she responded and said that she chatted with Robert Stowers, the director of Rec and Parks, and they're going to put it on a later meeting. So
Okay,
I don't think we have any meeting that day.
Okay.
The next meeting that we are anticipating attending that would be make or break for the event is the Traffic Authority on the 20th, and that's on a Monday at 4 p.m. But before we do that, we need to fill out the special permit application, and that's something that I've asked Ben and Brian to help with because I'm going to be in surgery recovery for the next several days.
Okay. Can I?
My computer is back up. I'm trying to get Zoom running again. But I do have the agenda. So
Is it there now? Did I share it?
you do. Yes,
Is
you are
that
sure.
okay?
Yeah. Okay, so the last thing is Bike to Work Week. We had a meeting. Actually, Christine, do you want to report on this? You led the meeting.
Yep, so we have a little core group. Bike to Work Week is March 15th to the 21st. And we are setting up stations for commuters or anybody to stop at, I think it's 4 locations every day of the week in the morning, like 7 to 9. There was about 6 of us on the meeting, so some of them people are here, thank you, but we're gonna meet again at the end of the month. So if you want to participate, help with this event, it's 4 days in the work week, and we're providing some of our swag that we're purchasing. And people would have to come to the table that we have set up. It's at the South Norwalk train station, East Norwalk train station, City Hall. And I may be down by Water Street. I can't remember right now if we decided on that spot. But and they can a cyclist can bring their helmet to the table, sign in, receive like coffee, donuts, things like that. So yeah, we're gonna try to get the mayor maybe to ride that day. If anybody here wants to maybe ride that day, we're gonna try to get the press involved too. So that's it in a nutshell here.
Thanks, Christine. And just to connect back with earlier in the meeting, the Bike Norwalk shirts that we're looking at would be to give out at those tables.
What?
Yes, and the tablecloth would be on those tables.
What date is that again?
So it's the week of the, sorry, it's the 15th through the 21st.
Of May?
Yeah, bike month, yep. We're also, one of the other things we're going to try to do, is set up that we are gonna try to set up is, have a bike load demonstration, a city bus bike load demonstration.
Oh,
at the-
Christine, I have an update for you on that.
At the Wheels Hub, okay.
I talked to the transit district, and I talked to Nancy about doing that at the NRVT grand opening. And
Oh, okay.
it's gonna work because it's really close to the bus hub.
All right. And you were contacting the person from the bus company, correct?
Yes, I'm in contact with the transit district about the bus.
When is your surgery, Tanner?
It's tomorrow morning.
Oh, gosh, good luck. Do you have to
Thanks.
fast? Probably you're fasting, huh?
Starting at midnight. Yeah.
It's
Let's keep moving on
outpatient?
though,
Okay,
because
right.
TMP still has a bunch of updates and we got like 5 minutes left.
I'm finished.
All right. Yeah, the next thing on the agenda is TMP. Is that right?
Can you see the agenda? Am I sharing it?
Yes, you are.
That's right.
Okay, go ahead, Greg.
Okay, so the first one, the capital budget request for East Avenue Planning Study and Design. So obviously, you know, Garrett in January presented our asks for for the capital budget for TMP. Unfortunately, the item was not included in the CFO's recommended budget. If you would like to see the CFO's recommended budget, it's available on the Finance Department website. It's capital budget item number 11 in the TMP section. Moving forward, the mayor has not sent in his recommendations yet as well. So our original ask was for $750,000 for East Avenue. So Jim is going to advocate for, through the mayor's submittal of the capital budget request, to be about $400,000 for the planning and design study, to see if that maybe will get it into the budget. One thing, the CFO did recommend the $750 for next year's budget, which is a positive as well, so that, you know, come next year, it should be funded through that, because he recommended it for next year. But, you know, as far as public input, you know, the public input portion for the capital budget has kind of been closed right now through meetings. But we recommend, you know, if you want to advocate for anything moving forward, for any item that wasn't included in the recommended budget, just to go through your common council representative in your area, to kind of see if we can get an item on the mayor's recommended budget for next year's capital budget. And I believe his budget is due, he's going to submit his budget at the end of the month in March. So if anybody have any questions on that?
I've got a question, Greg.
Yep.
So is the expectation, or is the idea that the 400,000 that you're now starting to request for, that would still cover all of planning and design?
I mean, we spoke with, you know, just, it's a ballpark figure. We think we could still, you know, the thing is, it's a large area. We're talking, you know, just north, you know, near the off ramp at exit 16, near 95, all the way up to Route 1, which is a pretty long stretch of roadway.
Sure.
You know, when it comes to all the data collection, survey data that needs to be put into it. So 400,000 may still be enough to cover the planning and design phase. So that should be enough.
Thanks. Any other questions on that, or should we move on?
Good. All right, we'll move on to the next one. So next steps for using sidewalk audit for on-call services, for on-call concrete services. So we have so far, obviously, well, I don't know if everybody's heard on this committee yet, but we actually got approval for our concrete services contract through the Common Council, which, you know, is about, you know, it gives us an opportunity to have kind of an on-call contractor to to install, concrete and bituminous concrete related sidewalk projects around the city. So it's not one large project that we're doing. This is kind of a spread out on-call contract that, will kind of take care of, any customer service calls that require immediate attention, fulfill legacy projects that have kind of been sitting around, whether it was through private-public partnerships or through grant that's outstanding that we need to address sooner rather than later. So we're going to address that with this project. It's primarily, also preliminary work in advance of DPW projects as well. And trying to get things done, but also work and coordinate with DPW as well. If they're going to be paving a road within the next couple of years, we would kind of leave that for them to kind of do the work there, and we would work around that and implement, and go through our projects that are outstanding and get those installed around the city as well. So, this is the first contract of its time in the city of Norwalk. So it took some time to develop, and we're very pleased that it was approved. And, right now it's going through the legal phase, and we're excited to get it implemented. Now, as far as how it's going to work with the sidewalk audit, like I said, we have about a dozen projects or so that, that are legacy projects. A lot of them were listed in that initial contract document. We have the raised crosswalk on Union Park, which is a partnership with the health department, which is a grant as well that is going to, pay for a portion of that design and for the construction of that. So it's a portion we'll pay for through that grant, and the other portion will come through the concrete services. And then there's other remaining ones. Especially there's the sidewalk work remaining around the Jimmy John's development that was put in on Route 1, where we would finish the sidewalk and the crossing at Wolf Pit Avenue across Route 1, which has no sidewalk or no crossing island there right now. So we would work with DOT on getting that installed. There's also sidewalks on Richards Avenue that would create the, a sidewalk on the westerly curb side of the road on the northern section of Richards Ave heading up towards Philo Street. That's a partnership with the cemetery development that's going in that area as well, where they would do about half the sidewalk work and we would fill the other half. So we have a list of projects that we were going to do first that we need to get done, and then we will go through and kind of finalize the prioritization tool through the sidewalk audit and go through the missing sidewalk segments and the missing ADA ramps that need to be included in that as well going forward. So we still have a lot of work that's left to do, but the major step is getting the contract approved, which is done. So we'll look forward to hitting the ground running come construction season this year. Colin?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Just one quick question about, well, two quick questions about the public responsiveness, I guess. So you anticipating that some of that is going to be like click and request from the public if people are complaining about deteriorated sections of sidewalk, and would that include like ADA ramps at crosswalks where they're maybe damaged or deficient if somebody reports that?
So if it's an existing sidewalk, that would be more DPW's purview. We're looking more for filling the gaps where there is no existing sidewalk right now. For instance, there's a lot of missing sidewalk segments on France Street, for instance, and various other streets. And then there's a lot of, ramps right now that are just concrete or they're bituminous and not ADA compliant. So those would be the areas that we would do. And through click and request, anything that's kind of like an immediate need, we would also look to address through this contract as well, instead of waiting.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm asking. Like, I've definitely walked over my share of sidewalks that are in bad shape and about, whoever's property. And I guess whether or not that's you or DPW, you're looking to address that partially, potentially with this contract.
Yeah, a portion of it. Yeah. So, I mean, if it's a sidewalk in bad repair on a stretch of roadway, that would be more DPW's purview. If it's deteriorated sidewalk, because it's a rehab sidewalk. But if there's a sidewalk segment that stops suddenly, then that would be our part of this contract to fulfill.
Gotcha. And then the other question I had was, you were talking about, part of that is existing sidewalk or existing commitments, I guess, on Richards Avenue and along the cemetery development. I wasn't sure if you were talking about the north-south bike route or if there was a project going on in that neighborhood that.
Well, no, so they're at the cemetery, they're looking to put an office space in the cemetery. As part of that, they're putting in a portion of sidewalk along the stretch of roadway. There'd be an amenity area between.
Okay.
So that's part of that. And then we would fill, I believe it's like, they would do 1,000 feet and we would do the remaining 1,000 feet just to make the connection. So it's one seamless sidewalk. So that's the public-private partnership.
Gotcha.
And then just the other one was Jimmy John's. They did portion of sidewalk on the frontage at Route 1. And then they stopped near the Wolfett Avenue intersection. So we would just continue that portion onto the existing sidewalk segment a little further up the road. So that's one seamless connection. Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a question, Greg. So it sounds like at a high level, basically the first round of projects that you're going to do using this contract are already more or less determined, and the next round will be determined based on prioritization from the sidewalk audit data. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we had a few legacy projects that if we don't use this money, through grant or through private public partnerships by a certain time, then the money goes away.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And we already include it in the contract just to give the contractor an idea of what they will be doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you able to, do you have any plans to share any of the sidewalk audit data with the public?
Yeah, so we are working to share the map. We're working on creating a spot on our website to create the overall map so that people can view it. So it will be available for public view. It's just a matter of it's just a very large file because it's a pretty large size map. But we're working on expanding the website and getting its own page on the TMP website.
Cool. I'm excited about that, and I look forward to that happening. I understand that there are technical constraints, but I'm glad that the constraints are technical and not policy.
Yeah. Yep. All good.
Cool.
Okay. Moving on, the signage within the Sono Garage bike parking. So no update on that front right now. It's a little difficult to do anything around the, inside the garage right now, because especially we don't currently have an assistant director of parking right now. We're a little short-staffed right now. So that's one of the items that we will explore the opportunities signage at a later date. And, just with the staffing number right now, we're just unable to do that. And once we do have the ability to do it, then we'll look more into how we get that done.
Thanks, Greg. Completely understand on that limitation. I've had multiple questions about that, and I promised people I'd put on the agenda.
Yep.
So thanks.
Yep. And then the last one, so for the bike rack purchasing, so we're waiting on just getting the final 2 quotes for the companies for the hoop style racks that we're going to be putting on various locations around the city. We did brand some of the hoop style racks. Some of them will have the Bike Norwalk logo, and the other ones we wanted to kind of start getting the NRVT logo into them as well, as we kind of put it along the NRVT just to kind of brand it. So we're working on getting that logo kind of finalized and how we work it into the branded logo inside the hoop. And then we're just getting those quotes back so we can submit it through the purchasing guidelines. I know we're a little delayed getting that in as well. But we are moving that and advancing that so that we can get the bike rack. So I don't have a timeline how long it's going to take to process and receive and install. But we're moving on it. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Thanks. Do you have a rough idea of the volume of the purchase? Like how many racks?
Like how many racks? So we're looking at about 20 racks for ordering.
20. Okay. And
that doesn't include the artistic racks either. That's we're working on that separately.
Gotcha. For the 20 hoop racks, have you already prioritized where those are going to go, or is that an open question?
Well, yeah, so I mean, we utilized your list that you provided and went through a lot of those areas and looking to put them along, you know, some on Washington Street, just the single hoop racks, and then we're gonna put some on West Avenue, and then Orchard Street as well, where there are existing racks, but they're not very good racks that are part of the Berkeley Waypoint development. So we wanted
Oh,
to
gotcha.
we wanted to put some there as well. And then we're gonna speak with the Rec and Parks Department about in Veterans Park, where ideally they would like to see it, because I know they wanna, you know, we wanna obviously put some, you know, around where the activities are as well. So we'll have to talk to them about where to
Yeah.
put some of those as well.
Would any of these involve removing the old like fence style racks? You know
No,
what I'm talking about?
we weren't looking on removing any. These would just be new racks to be put in.
Okay. The reason I ask is, besides the fact that those are just like not as useful for secure bike parking as the new ones. I was contacted by somebody in the community who is interested in purchasing those old ones to use for their own purposes. So if we ever do take the old ones out, we have a buyer.
Okay.
I don't know what the
that-
regulations are around selling stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if that's possible, because I would have to confirm about that.
Hey,
And I don't know
no
if they're
rush.
gonna be any
Christine?
good.
Yeah, Greg, sorry, I know we're wrapping up here. Thanks, Greg, for all your work, but one place I hope gets a new one, and maybe that can be purchased by that other person or given to, is City Hall. Like, of all I think they need kind of a prominent, pretty one there, because right now they have the old one there, and it's not visible really. It's nothing attractive about it, so.
yeah, I guess that did come up in our bike to work week planning, specifically because we're planning on having, on one of the days, we're going to have our table at City Hall, and or at least that's the concept. So if there were racks available to replace the one at City Hall by May, that was the concept. But it sounds like with 20, they're already well spoken for around the city, and you're prioritizing putting them in places that don't already have racks.
Yeah, and one other spot too was in front of the police department as well.
Oh yeah, that's been on the list for a long time.
Yes, it has.
So while I agree with Christine, it sounds like it's not going to be very realistic to get a replacement rack in at City Hall before mid-May.
That may be a little difficult.
Okay.
But we'll put it on the list and see what we can do.
Okay. And then the other half of that, there were discussions maybe a year ago about creating a form on the TMP website, or even on the Bike Walk website, that businesses can fill out to indicate their interest in having a bike rack in front of their business. The reason I put this on the agenda is because we found that if we had such a form, even if we weren't giving out the racks yet, but if we had such a form on the website, that would allow us to check a box on the Bike Friendly Communities application. So is that something that could be done before September?
Yeah, I would guess so. Yeah, it's just putting the time in to get it done.
I hope we can make the time. I think it's really key. I was in the big plaza this weekend, ShopRite. There was bikes like hooked up all over like trees and stuff in there. There was not one rack in that huge plaza, that shopping area.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of places around town that need bike racks. And hopefully, if we had such a forum, that would allow business owners that are aware of that to signal not only the need, but also their openness to having them. Judd, go ahead.
Oh, would we create that forum though? Sorry, do we create that, Tanner? Why don't we create it?
That's what I was gonna
When we
ask.
raised this last time, I think TMP said that they were going to do it. I mean, if you want us to do it, we can do it.
Yeah, I think it's something we should start and put together. This way it comes from the city, and then, you know, to have the endorsement from the commission to do it. So we'll put something together and we'll have some further discussions on it and how it should be formatted.
Is the idea that we would provide free bike racks to these private businesses?
I think the initial idea was to provide bike racks on public property in front of the business.
Okay, okay.
Is that right, Greg?
Well, that or the building owner would buy racks for their property that match
Yeah, we're nearby, I imagine.
the style, you know, the style that is used around the city.
So
that
in that
it's
case, the city would
uniform.
function more as a consultant to
Correct.
make
So that they
available the
don't,
design.
they
that's
don't
being used.
buy racks that don't function as well as others.
Greg,
Gotcha.
is there any thought for more repair stations, like at Cat Pasture or in the summer?
There is one at Cat Pasture.
No, I like those. I'm saying.
Oh, like those. Well, we did put one in the Sono garage.
Yep.
You know, the only thing about that is they're a little pricier than racks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for all that, we have quite a few bike racks already, and being on the Bike Walk Commission, I hate to say this, but I don't see them getting used that often, so I was just thinking, you know, like the one at City Hall is often, there's at least one, often 2 or 3 bicycles locked up when I go there. I don't know what you see, Greg. But I thought, you know, instead of buying more bike racks right now, could we put a repair station, say, at City Hall?
Well, the racks we're putting in now, the orders we're you know, we've been on this for a while, so I think we're going to continue to put these racks in, especially the logoed ones. We've been working, you know, to get the logos done for this order. So maybe for future orders, we'll look for you know, repair stands
At the high use locations.
at the high use locations. Correct.
Okay.
I think specifically high use locations that currently don't have a convenient rack. Like, for example, we have the big decorative rack on Washington Street, but it's in the middle of the street. And so if your destination is at one of the ends, then locking your bike up halfway down the street is less convenient than locking it up right in front of the business where you're going. And I think that's kind of the goal with these one-off hoop racks on, for example, Washington Street and West Avenue. Is that right?
And
Greg?
think of it as a parking garage for bicycles, you know? You go in the parking garage and then you got to walk to your destination.
Yeah, it's less convenient than the street parking.
Yep. So we'll provide both.
Yeah. Paul, if your comment's quick, you can go ahead, but we want to wrap up here. Paul, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. In regards to bike racks, I want to be as close as possible to my destination because I want to see my bike in case I got to jump out of the store and enforce my parking privileges. So
Agreed. Yeah, security is another factor there.
So maybe
Okay,
in the future, more single space bike racks, like a single loop along a street here and there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what TMP is doing with this order. So
Yeah,
it's
so
great
for
doing that.
Washington Street specifically, so that we don't clutter the sidewalk, we're gonna look to install racks that run parallel to the curb line so that they don't take up the sidewalk.
Perfect. That sounds great. Okay, let's move on to the I-95 exit 16 item.
All right, so we'll make this one quick. So obviously of course, they wrote an article about it in the Hour. I'm sure you all saw, but right now there is no update for the conceptual plans on what East Avenue will look like at the exit 16 off ramps. Yes, DOT is considering the diverging diamond interchange for that intersection, but there hasn't been any formal conceptual plan that has been released as of yet. So right now they're just working through concept plans. We'll share any updates from DOT with the commission. And obviously we'll encourage you all to attend when they do public information meetings on it. But right now, you know, obviously there's already the work that's being done on I-95 at exit 16 and 17 right now between Westport and Norwalk that is currently underway. You know, then there's also DOT is heavily already invested in the Route 7 Merritt Parkway interchange as well. So there's a lot of other moving pieces. So right now, no update on what they're going to look like and what the concept is going to look like. And, you know, like we do for all other city roadway related projects, you know, obviously the city takes a stance on, you know, implementing complete streets approach and to make travel safe for all roadway users. So this one would be no different once those conceptual plans are released. So hang tight and we'll keep you posted when we hear something.
So Greg, is it correct to say that until the conceptual plan is released, that TMP doesn't have any channel for influence or input?
Yeah, not right now. I mean, we haven't heard anything from them, and especially since East Avenue is a city roadway, they will update us, but we haven't heard anything.
All right, Colin and then Judd.
Thanks, Tanner. Greg, so since they've commented on that being on the table, have they commented on anything else being on the table?
We haven't heard anything, no. They're just looking into, they're considering the DDI, but other than that, that's just one concept plan. So if they're gonna have that as one plan, I'm sure other concepts will have, something else implemented other than DDI.
Yeah, it's just, I guess I just find it odd that the only press that's been around this intersection has been regarding a DDI, and you're like, I mean, not you, but you're just relaying what you've heard from CONDOT.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, the concept plan is the DDI, but okay, well, if you're not considering anything else, or you are considering anything else, how come nothing else has made the news?
Because they already made up their mind, probably, Colin.
Yeah. It seems that way. So it's like, I would push TMP to get a clear answer on how many, even if they're not going to tell us what the options are, how many options are on the table?
Right.
Because otherwise you're not considering other concepts.
Like I said, they have so many other projects going on in the area right now. I don't know how, I don't think doesn't sound like they're really moving this forward as fast a pace as other projects. Just because, like, for instance, Route 7, Route 15 has been on the table for many, many years now.
30 years.
Yeah, so I think that's one that they're trying to move forward with sooner rather than the DDI and East Avenue. So, but we'll look, we'll keep you posted and see what, if DOT has any updates.
Greg, do you
Go ahead.
have
Yeah, thank you.
access to the crash data there on the bridge and those intersections?
Yeah, it's all public. It's on the state repository website.
Judd, actually, a little more detail there. Do you remember there's a woman who is a professor at Sacred Heart who lives in Norwalk, Wendy Berkey? She's been to at least one of our meetings, maybe a couple. She's working with one of her students actually on a research project. They reached out to me and said, hey, could we partner with you on a research project? And I said, here's one idea. You could look at crashes on East Avenue, because East Avenue is a hot topic right now in Norwalk. And so that's actually the project that the student has chosen. And the student was supposed to show up tonight. She got an invite, but it doesn't look like she was able to join. But like that's under investigation, not only by TMP, but also by now a third party at Sacred Heart University. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
And that is a high, just looking at it at a high level, that is where a lot of the crashes do come on East Avenue, obviously, because it's, higher volume, but it would be it's a very intensive crash data analysis to go through that area.
So if I wanted to find that, where would that data be?
So it's on the crash data repository.
Okay.
I can send you the link.
Yeah,
But
so
it's a Yukon project. It's the Yukon
Yeah.
Crash Data Repository.
Yep. And it has everything from 2015 on, and you can query the data as any way that you would like.
Okay.
It's pretty detailed, to say the least. A lot of different queries you can run.
Well, probably a good thing.
No, it is. It's just it's very detail oriented to go through it all.
Yeah, it can be a little overwhelming when you first show up.
It is
on the
very,
website.
very overwhelming, and then you could miss items going through. And it can get a little confusing.
Okay.
Colin, your hand's still up.
Sorry about that.
All right. I think that's all you have, Greg, for
That's
the
it.
East Ave intersection. So let's move on to the vice chair announcement. I'll turn the time over to Judd, our current vice chair.
Is Emily here?
Emily?
I am here. I'm back. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. I just would like to say I am stepping down as vice chair, but I will still be a commission member, and I'm nominating Emily to take my place. She's been acting as vice chair for several months or more now, so I think she's well deserving of the position. So hoping someone would second that.
I second,
Yeah, I'll second.
congratulations.
Christine seconds. I just want to say a couple words about Emily. Emily's been super helpful with a bunch of different projects recently, and essentially has already taken on all the responsibilities of being vice chair. So I completely support this. I don't actually know the rules about voting on vice chair. I know that as the chair, I was appointed by the mayor. Like the commission didn't vote to make me the chair, but I don't know if vice chair is different. Delene, do you know?
I don't think so.
You don't think that what?
My experience on the parking authority is it's not appointed by the mayor there either. It's just within the commission.
Yeah, you would just have to take a vote.
You just take a
Okay.
vote.
Great. Well, I think we kind of did take a vote, but formally we'll have a vote. All in favor? I don't see Emily's hand, but I think even without Emily, the vote carries. Emily, do you want to say anything?
I didn't realize I'd get a vote in this, if I'm being nominated, but
I mean,
thank
you're
you,
a
Judd.
commissioner.
And yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to, take on this role, and I'm very enthusiastic about this. So I'm all in.
Right.
Thanks again, Emily. And thanks again, Judd, for serving as vice chair, especially through the transition from Nancy as chair to having me as chair. I leaned on Judd a lot, especially in the first several months as chair, given that he has been doing this a lot longer than me. So thank you, Judd.
Sure. Well, you've been doing a great job, Tanner.
Thanks. Recently, it's been in large part due to Emily.
Okay.
Okay, so our last item is to approve the minutes from the February 6th meeting. I skimmed them and they look great. I want to thank Delene, as always, for taking them. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes or a motion to amend the minutes if there is one. Judd has made a motion, but he is muted, so I don't know what the motion is.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. I did read them, and so yes, I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
All right, all in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you, everybody.
Can I say one more thing?
Oh, Christine, go ahead.
I guess unfortunately, and we've had to recognize this before at the meeting, is a Norwalk resident was struck and killed by a car in Westport last night or the night before.
Oh, I did not see that.
It was by the train station on Riverside Avenue.
Was it in
Like 11,
in the hour
Saturday,
or on-
it was Saturday night, 11:30 at night. His name was Matthew Balga, so let's hold him in our thoughts and prayers. 54, he was 54. A pedestrian.
Christine, where can we find more info on that? Was it published in the Hour or somewhere else?
It's like Westport News Online or Norwalk Hour Online.
Westport News.
It was in a bunch of news outlets, Tanner. If you just look it up, you'll see a bunch of things pop up.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, it wasn't in Norwalk, it was in Westport.
Right, it was right. It's by the railroad station, Riverside Avenue, which borders Norwalk, but
That's still very upsetting. I'm so sorry to hear that.
yeah. Anyway, we've recognized people before here. Unfortunately, we have had to, have a little silent moment here, but
Yeah, I'm happy to take a quick moment of silence. Thanks again, Christine, for bringing that to our attention.
all right. Have a good night.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Tanner, can you hear me?
Phil, what's up? Yeah.
Just as a reminder, the Tree Alliance bike ride on Saturday, 9 a.m.
Oh, yeah. I meant to put that on my chair's updates. Yes, we are co-sponsoring a bike ride with the Norwalk Tree Alliance this coming Saturday. Phil is going to lead the ride. It's going to start at Fodor Farm on Flax Hill Road at 9 a.m. Is that right? And go to the Farm Creek Preserve in Rowayton and back.
Yep, as far as I know, I guess it's rain or shine at this point. I don't know if there's a rain date, but Yeah.
We don't have a rain date, so yeah, we'll keep our followers updated.
Yes, Emily's been doing a great job of keeping events like that flowing on our newsletter and our social media. So thanks, Emily.
Thanks.
I sadly won't be able to ride, but I will be at the after party. The Tree Alliance is going to throw an after party. So if you can't make it for the ride, come for the after party. It'll be, I think, around noon at that photo farm.
Yep.
And it'll be indoors. There's a building there and the party will be indoors.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Phil.
Okay, so again, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Signet.
Thanks,
I'll
Emily. A second?
Or
Thanks, Colin. Everybody. Thanks, Judd.
Good night.
That's everybody. Thanks, everybody, for
Have a
coming.
good
Have a good
night.
night.
Thank
everybody.
you,
See you next
Greg,
month.
Colleen.
Thanks. Have a good night,
Bye,
Judd.
everybody.